Good morning. It's a beautiful day. In line with my slogan, revealing real life in Portugal, I'm going to show you what like a normal morning would be like for me. It's just go through my morning routine, taking my daughter to school, doing a bit of exercise, getting a coffee, etc. And then I'm going to head out into the interior and tell you about 5 culture shocks that you may experience in Portugal. After dropping my daughter Isabella off at school with PGA in Lule, by the way, we're going on a big trip together and we're going to film it. I'll tell you all about it at the end of this video. So I dropped her off and drove up to find a dam that I had passed by a few months ago when we were shuttling up and down from Braga. I took a little drone break here in Branco do Velho, which is about 14 kilometers north of São Brás del Portel, which is notable for 2 restaurants nearby, Tia Bia, which I've heard fantastic things about, and Casa dos Presuntos. Check them out if you're up for a windy country drive. This dam, which I'm looking for, is situated very near a little hamlet or a minute village, and it's called California. So now you know where California, USA gets its namesake. It's just over 30 kilometers north into the interior, and it actually gets pretty close to the Alentejo border. More news on an epic Alentejo video coming soon too. Anyway, I finally arrived at the dam, and just let me get set up here. Well, I'm actually here in a place called California, so it's quite apt for those of you who are from California or from America in general. But I just wanted to point out 5 culture shocks that you may experience here in Portugal. Number one, online delivery times. I mean, this is not New York, this is not LA. It's especially the Algarve is a very countrified area, and deliveries are not overnight generally. So if you're ordering from a local Portuguese site, you can probably get your products delivered within a day or 2. But if you're living in the country like we do, you've got to expect a little bit of a delay, because then they can't find your house because there's no numbers, and you've got to phone them, and you've got to send a Google PIN. So it's quite a thing. I actually get a lot of stuff from Amazon.es because there's no Amazon in Portugal, and we just order it from there. It's a little bit tricky because it's not in English, so it's in Spanish or Portuguese, so you might have to use Google Translate. So all these little things create a little bit of friction, and it does end up creating a little bit of a difference. You can't just get stuff, you know what I mean? You might have to get in your car and go and get it, being delivered. So that's number 1. Number 2 is a more social thing, so starting conversations. Now, if you, what I've experienced in the States when I've traveled there is people just walk up to you and start talking to you, and you can, end up start talking to you for half an hour. And that's not really the case here in Portugal. They'll find that a little bit weird here in Europe. By all means, greet people and say, hi, how are you doing? But launching into a full-on conversation with total strangers is a little bit odd. Okay, so you may not find that, there might be a bit of friction there, and you may not be accustomed to that kind of behavior. If you're one of those quiet types who don't really want to talk to anybody, like me, then that's fine. You'll work well. Okay. Number 3. Now this is important. Lunch. Lunch is a very, very important thing in Portugal. Now, don't expect anybody to work over lunch. Don't expect anybody to take a call over lunch. And also, if you go to a store or something and it's closed for lunch, well, you can't moan and complain and belittle them and say, oh, this is so stupid, the Portuguese don't, blah, blah, blah. Just join them. Go and have lunch yourself and enjoy it, and realize that that's actually one of the half points of the day where everyone gets together and they talk about it. And Portuguese people love food. If you ever get involved in a conversation with a Portuguese person about food, expect it to last, at least 15 minutes, possibly 45. We love food here. We talk about it all the time. And also we embrace it every day at lunchtime and dinner time. So don't be upset if your favorite store is closed or somebody can't get to you around lunchtime, or the delivery guy just refuses to come and get you, even if he's close by, because it's lunchtime. Everybody has lunch. I think you get my point, right? In South Africa, when I was working in a big corporate, we'd always sometimes we'd be working so hard, we'd just have a sandwich next to our desk, or a takeaway, something, or a pizza, whatever, next to our desks while we're working. That, unheard of here in the Algarve. Nobody does that. Don't do it either. Number 4, things that you see online are just for example, restaurants are not that reliable, and especially after COVID, a lot of restaurants have closed down, but their online footprint is still there for all to see, and their opening and closing dates are still there. So just double check everything you see. So if you phone them up and make a reservation. Don't rely on the online stuff or whatever, okay? Because things have changed a lot. I use Google Maps for just about everything. It's really easy to find restaurants, like my Yellow Pages. I don't know if you used to have Yellow Pages when you were young, but we did in South Africa, and you could find any business there. If it's not on Google Maps, doesn't mean it isn't there. There are tons of businesses, really cool local businesses, who are not on Google Maps, who you can only find by word of mouth or by looking around and keeping your eyes open. And even then, when you're looking around, a gym may not appear to be a gym. It might be just a dark brown door. But, you got to look and you got to investigate, and that's actually can be quite an adventure in Portugal. Don't get upset about the fact that everything's not visible, okay? Just treat it as a little bit of a mystery. It can get frustrating at times, but just try and turn it into an adventure. Number 5, kids are everywhere. It's a very, very family-organized society, a family-centric society, should I say. And kids are at bars, kids are at cafes, kids are at restaurants, and legally, they are allowed to enter clubs from 16 onwards, but they're not allowed to be served alcohol until they're 18. Okay, so they can be in a place where it's being served alcohol, but they're not allowed to drink until they're 18. And occasionally, or actually quite often, ID cards are checked, so that's a thing. But generally kids are everywhere and they're all around, and they sort of mix in with people getting drunk and drinking, so it's all acceptable, and it's a great society. It works really well. And kids are fantastic. They really are fun. Ow. Stones here. So I think one of the most important things that most of you get already is that when you're coming to Portugal, don't expect to bring your culture with you. You have to adapt to the culture here, because Portugal is not going to change for you. You're going to need to change for Portugal. And that is probably what most people are seeking when they're moving to Portugal, is that they want to change their lives. But listen, there is a big adjustment whenever you go from any country to another country. You're wiping out your social network. You've got everything's new, everything's different. Sometimes there's a new language that you've got to try and navigate and get through as well, even though it's very easy to speak English here, but it's still, psychologically weighs on you sometimes. So there's a massive adjustment that's going to take place. No matter how excited you are in the beginning, it's going to take some time to get used to it. So during that adjustment phase, things might get you down a bit. And the best solution that I've found is just get out into nature. I mean, look at this here. It's so peaceful, it's so calm, it's so introspective. And you can just relax and absorb nature, and it really does help a lot. A lot of people might turn to alcohol and go sit in a bar every night and get drunk if they're not feeling so good. A lot of people might just turn to food and just eat their way through their problems. Other people can go out and exercise and get fit and healthy, walk along the beach, even if, it's not really hectic exercise. Just get a dog or something and walk along a dog and get into routines and things like that. God, I'm sounding like a psychotherapist now, but an adjustment scenarios are big. Be prepared for it no matter how excited you are. And when it happens, just get out there and solve it. It's no problem. There's no need to pack up the bags and scream and shout and go home. Because just get used to it. You'll get through it. And the benefits of living in a safe and secure country like Portugal are immeasurable. They really are. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. All right, audio seems to be working well. So I have actually had enough of this, and I'm going to go and jump in the water, because I've got to make the most of it. This is quite far away from my house. So, water's not too cold. algarveaddicts.com. You thought I forgot. So now we're going on this massive trip all around Portugal, which is super exciting because it's the first time I've actually ever been sponsored. It's the first sponsorship that I'm working with. I've been offered loads of sponsorships and I just wanted to do something that works with them. So a lot of people have inquired about schools in Portugal. That's why I did those 2 school videos, one about private schools, another about public schools. A private school, BGA, Brave Generation Academy, has asked me to travel all around Portugal to visit their 31 hubs. They've got 31 classrooms all around the country. And so we're going to go on a massive trip all around Portugal and we're going to try and vlog it every day. I'm a bit nervous of whether it's all going to come out, whether I'm going to do it every single day, but we're going in early October. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to come out, but I'm really excited and all fueled up, ready to go. So it'll be just me and Isabella, my daughter, and we're just going to cruise around and stay in some fun places and really see some fun and interesting locations, great towns all around Portugal. So stick with me for the ride. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe so you can get all the updates. And thanks very much again for watching. See you next week.